Kane Vision welcomes in John Barfeld, who is the head softball coach at the University of Tulsa. And, you've been on the road so long, and you do have a home tournament coming up starting on March 10th. But we thought we'd get an update on your team. You're 8-7. You've played in 3 tournaments. How's the team played?
Well, we started out, playing pretty nervous, I thought, and some of it had to do with the field we were practicing on, which is our field. And then going to Arizona's field, it was kind of like in tennis, if you practiced on clay courts and then you went to a hard court tournament.
Right.
And that's kind of what we did, in the infield. And so our infielders, got a little tentative. We made a lot of mistakes. We just left a lot of outs that, we could have gotten out on the field. And still lost, a couple of one-run ball games there that, those are teams that we should be competing with and beating. And so we weren't ready to play against the top 10 teams in the country at that point. But then the next weekend, we got a little bit better. We competed well against another top 25 team. Still infield-wise, still nervous, still making some mistakes defensively, pitchers getting behind in counts and having to come in and giving up some big hits. Got some more wins that second weekend. And then the third weekend, we played our best ball, Emily Watson really turned it on, and she's gotten better each time out. She kind of hit a really nice stride as far as getting ahead of hitters, her ball moving a lot better, just pitchers pitching ahead in counts, and then getting ahead in games and things like that. So the third weekend, and that's the trend you want to see.
Sure.
You want to see the trend going in that direction, and so there's some light at the end of the tunnel, I guess.
Well, and you win the 4 of 5 in the tournament in Lamar, and of course you mentioned this, but Emily Watson was outstanding, and probably no more outstanding than in the Kansas game, where you struck out 15 in the 2-1 win. That was
right.
big, that was big time.
Yeah, it was, and she was really as good the night before at McNeese, but just gave up a 2-run homer in the last inning. They swing it pretty well there, playing in their home park. But you're right, she was really on with Kansas. The ball was moving. And to get 15 strikeouts, that's a pretty dominating performance against a quality team.
And she's the American Athletic Conference Pitcher of the Week as a result, so congratulations to Emily. Hitting-wise, the bats kind of came alive in this last tournament in Lamar, right?
Yeah, and the bats have been actually, we had one of our best hitting weekends in the very first weekend. And then, certain pitchers would give us a problem of adjusting to, and that has probably continued through all 3 tournaments, and so our bats are coming and going. Some of it is just we have to learn how to make adjustments to different types of pitchers. A couple of times a rise ball pitcher has really given us fits where we're instead of hitting the pitch, we're fouling it off. And then this last tournament, Northern Illinois threw a real good drop ball pitcher, and we just didn't make real good adjustments to that. It's a learning experience for a lot of the players. A lot of them are either in different roles this year, or playing a full-time role, or maybe a rookie coming in, getting their feet wet with Division I pitching. But there's some pitchers out there that can really move the ball, can really spin it, and we just have to learn how to make an adjustment to that.
So who's hitting well for you right now? I know Morgan Neal is leading you in hitting, but
right.
I know you have some others.
Yeah, and she's hit real well, and we've had different lineups each weekend. I've been searching for what lineup's going to click, and I think the lineup I really liked this last weekend. We really started out the leadoff hitter with Julia Hollingsworth, and she got on base a ton for us, and she also drove in runs. So that's a nice two-way thing there. But she's kind of been, this past weekend, it led us to a 4-1. We'll probably stay with that a while. And then a Morgan Neal has been hitting the ball really well. She's been, committing, and I think she's doing a better job of committing to where the pitch she's looking for, and then putting that swing on that pitch. And so she's going with the pitch when she needs to. She can turn on the pitch when she wants to. So she's been doing well. And then I saw some improvement from the twins, Maggie and Maddie, this weekend. They've got a track record,
Yeah.
So they've been hitting at this level, and they just kind of got off to a little bit of a slow start. And so you can see them coming out of it a little bit better. I think, Shelby's been she started out pretty well, and then she kind of went into a little bit of a funk. And there's another hitter that's got a track record, and so I think we saw her coming out of it a little bit this weekend. When the hitters get into a slump and they want to succeed so bad, they try so hard, and the harder you try hitting baseball, or softball, that just makes it worse.
Yeah, well, Shelby Estacado has been so good for you for a lot of years. She'll come through, and you do have one of the twins is now catching for you, so that's part of that adjustment you're talking about. Is that Maddie is catching, right?
Well, we started out that way, but and Riley started doing such a good job that we actually moved Maddie back to the outfield now. And we also wondered, hey, was that wearing her down when she came to the plate? And so and since Riley was doing such a good job, we decided to give her the bulk of the catching time, and then Maddie did start hitting this weekend, so maybe that's a key. So we kind of did make that move. You're right. We were going to go into the season with Maddie getting the bulk of the catching. She did that first weekend. But this last weekend, we actually caught Riley Spell and then another freshman, Sarah Cosmata, and they did a pretty good job. So I think we'll kind of stay with that tandem behind the plate now.
But you feel a little better defensively now than you did early?
Yeah, I think we're going to keep getting better defensively. It's just a matter of getting consistent. And a lot of times when you go away, especially in a conference series, you get to practice and get some ground balls on a field. And when you're playing tournaments early in the season like this, you don't get that opportunity because there's going to be so many games on that field, and a lot of times we don't get there early enough on Thursday to do that. So that'll change once conference comes around. And of course, once you get on your home field, then you're more used to that too. So I think those things will take care of itself. Like I said, I thought going into this year that our team defense would be a real plus because of the athleticism that we have. I still think that way. We just got
to go do it, right?
That's right. We just got to get more consistent at it.
Well, and speaking of home, as we mentioned, March 10th is the tournament as it's the Tulsa Invitational, and that is a tremendous field because you have Texas Tech and California and Wichita, Arkansas. I mean, you've got some really good teams coming up for fans that want to watch some early softball action. Right?
Yeah, that's it's going to be one of our stronger fields for our home tournament. So Cal's ranked up in the top 25, I believe, and they play some really good teams, and so it'll be interesting. But we're excited about that because you want to show your players, especially those that don't have the experience at this level, hey, this is what it takes to be, in that top 50, program, and that's one thing we want to be in to give us a couple of chances to get into the NCAAs.
But first, it's a tournament in Arlington, so that'll be the final of your 4 straight tournaments. As again, you play a ton of games before you even get home, but this is the final tune-up before you come home then.
Right, and we go to Arlington, we'll have 5 games there, and there's some teams that are playing well in that tournament as well. And so, again, just another test to get out and play. And, one of the things that I've found in my coaching, it doesn't matter how much you practice, you don't really truly find out about your team until you start hitting outside competition. And so I keep learning something every weekend, and we keep tinkering and moving things around. And I don't think in any of my 12 years I went into a season saying, I think this is going to be our lineup. And then it changes. And every year it just changes.
Well, Coach, good luck in Arlington, and we'll look forward to that tournament starting on March 10th here at home.
All right. Thank you, Bruce.
Coach John Barfeld, University of Tulsa Softball.